Let me tell you a story about the very first party I went to LA. So I moved here in 1994. And I knew a handful of people, but they were all guys I went to college with. They were all pretty conservative. They were not really into nightlife. And I moved here to eat the entire buffet. I knew one guy from the music business that lived here that was a fabled promotions man by the name of Charlie Miner. And he worked with my old boss, who was a musician on A&M Records. So I call him. I say, hey, Charlie, I don't know if you remember me. I used to work for so-and-so. And he goes, buddy, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. Yeah, meet me at Vince Neil's house. And hangs up the phone. And I'm like, Vince Neil from Motley Crue? I don't know where that guy lives. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So I call one of my college roommates who was really into heavy metal. And I said, do you by any chance know where Vince Neil lives? He goes, yeah, I know exactly where he lives. He lives in this big house on Big Rock on Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu. And I said, we're going. He said, we're never going to get in. I said, we're getting in. I'm picking you up. So on the drive out to Malibu, I'm telling my friend about Charlie Miner. And Charlie Miner was the physical embodiment of the old rock and roll business when it was great. Sex and drugs and rock and roll and women falling from the skies and heavy metal. And Charlie was the kind of guy, you went out to dinner with him, he would order every single thing on the menu and a case of the best wine. If you were going to a ball game, there was no question where you were sitting. You were sitting in the 4 seats directly behind home plate, front row. This guy half-assed nothing. And he was a good old Southern boy from Georgia and just full of charm and wit. And he wore white suits and he drove a white Rolls-Royce convertible. And this guy was cool. So we show up at Vince Neil's house and I'm like, let's just go. And my friend looks apprehensive and I'm like, come on. And we go up to the front door and I knock on the door and door opens. It's Vince effing Neil from Motley Crue. And he's all tan and blonde and ripped. He's got a big honking gold Rolex on. And I notice his garage door's open. He's got a black Ferrari in the driveway. And I'm like, this is what I'm here for. Anyway, we ended up staying there for like 2 days. And it was wild and really cool people and really beautiful women. And there were, of course, consciousness-altering entertainment products. And it seemed like everything I would ever try to go to. I'd go to a party, I'd go to a club, I'd go to a this, I'd go to a that. And there'd be a sea of people in the streets trying to get in. And I would just like, look. And then be like, there's Charlie and his entourage. I'd be like, Charlie. He'd be like, yeah, come on, he's with us. And got shepherded into a lot of things. And then one day, Charlie sadly was murdered by a crazy stripper, which can happen sometimes. It was very, very sad. And I went to his service at the A&M Studios lot at Sunset and La Brea. And again, there was a sea of people. There were thousands of people trying to get in. And I actually found myself looking around in the crowd for Charlie to get me into his own service. So Charlie Miner, you are missed. You are loved. Buddy, Godspeed.